Hello and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be trying some drugstore makeup. Some of this, well most of this is brand new, but there's a couple products in here that I just had that I've been wanting to try, haven't gotten around to it, so I just included them. Even though they're not brand new, they were very intriguing to me, so I wanted to go ahead and include them in this video and test them out. Definitely hit some hiccups in this video, but we got through it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the mostly new drugstore products of 2023. All right, the first new release is actually downstairs in my shower. I'll insert a picture of it. It's a brand new release from my very favorite drugstore shampoo and conditioner line. If you're familiar with the pink bottle, EverPure shampoo and conditioner. Some people say it's a dupe for Olaplex. It's a great bond restoring, color friendly shampoo and conditioner. So side note, if you're in the market for just a shampoo and conditioner, that's the one I am constantly recommending to family, friends, everyone. And I want to say it's around $7. So just always in my shower, highly recommend. And then I use the Eva NYC hair mask and then the Eva NYC 10-in-1 spray before I blow dry. That's kind of my process right now. And then when my hair is dry and I want to straighten it, I use the Coco and Eve oil elixir. Anyway, I can do a whole video on my current hair routine. But this is a new step. So this is pre-shampoo. So this is a bond restoring treatment before you shampoo. So as soon as you get in the shower, you get your hair wet and then you coat your hair with this product and it helps restore the bonds, it helps restore damaged hair. Because if you go straight in with like hot water and a shampoo really cleansing your scalp, it can be kind of hard on hair that's already damaged. So this is sort of a protective bond strengthening treatment to apply to your hair before you go straight in with all the cleansing products. Whether you double shampoo, use a clarifying shampoo, this is going to protect those bonds from getting too damaged in that process. Claims that the treatment system with citric acid penetrates inside the hair cortex to rebuild weak hair bonds and repairs hair in just one use. And I did personally notice a difference in just one wash. It feels like this creamy, lotiony texture, and you apply it generously, wait 5 or 10 minutes, and then rinse it and go in with your shampoo. So that is a brand new launch that I highly recommend. I highly recommend that whole system, the shampoo, the conditioner, as well as that pre-shampoo treatment. And then obviously you guys know my love for the Eva NYC mask to top it all off. But moving on to the makeup. So L'Oreal launched a bunch of different primers. These are their Prime Lab primers. I picked up this one. It's the 24-hour pore minimizer. I don't know how I feel about these 24, 48-hour claims. Pretty bold claims to make. This retails for, at least on Ulta's website, $16.99, which is steep. So this says, drop the filter, get your primer. The L'Oreal Paris Prime Lab up to 24-hour pore minimizer active derm primer instantly extends makeup wear for up to 24 hours, blurs pores, and visibly improves skin over time. So what it means by that is that it has 1% AHA, LHA, and BHA complex to refine the look of skin texture over time. So it's supposed to be not only a blurring product in terms of the formula, but it claims to actually help smooth the look of your pores. This also comes in a dullness reducer version, a redness eraser version, and a matte version. The first impression of this, I thought the camera was recording and it wasn't, so I didn't get the whole process of me putting it on my skin, but I immediately noticed that my skin looked so much more matte and so much more blurred with this on. This is one of those products that back when I used to do like professional makeup, we would have a lot of men be on the set of commercials and things like that, and they would just look really shiny because they're not wearing any makeup. And so they'd have like these big pores and look really shiny. So we'd usually use some sort of a mattifying primer on them just to kind of smooth the look of their face and prevent them from looking really shiny under those lights. This is like the perfect product for that. I think back to those days, this would work perfectly for that. My skin is personally pretty dry right now. Like I always mention, I'm using a retinol, so that just tends to dry my skin out regardless. I think it's not necessarily that it's drying my skin out, but it's more that it's balancing my skin out so I'm not as shiny. I'm more normal, and then I do get dry patches on my face the morning after I use my retinol. So I'm dealing with that right now on my chin, and this definitely highlighted that problem. I'm not saying it's a bad product because it did that. I think if you had really oily skin, you don't deal with dry patches, you may love this. but for me, it definitely highlighted those dry areas on my face. That's number one. Number two, I also don't love the idea of putting kind of an exfoliator, the 1% AHA, LHA, BHA on my face every day in the form of makeup. I love when makeup has added ingredients like squalene or really moisturizing products to help it glide on smoothly, help moisturize your skin. But when it comes to exfoliating acids, I prefer to leave that to the skincare, especially because I use actives in my skincare. I don't want to overdo it or irritate my skin by then trying to use them also during the day. So between the actives and the price point and the fact that this just really didn't work for my skin type, I can't say that I highly recommend this, but it does make me curious to try the other versions because this did work so well for what it said it was going to do. All right, next up is where things went a little south for me because this happens to me all the time whenever I try and use a powder foundation. As soon as I'm done with my primer, I'll go in with my powder foundation because that's what I do with my regular makeup routine. After primer, I go in with foundation and then concealer. But with a powder foundation, you're supposed to go in with concealer first so that you're not trying to blend concealer, liquid concealer on top of a powder foundation. So I forgot about that. Had to do a little bit of a backtrack, but again, we got through it. But the powder foundation is this Maybelline Super Stay. I got the shade, which in the pan, I was like, uh-oh, you know, this looks pretty dark. But on the skin, it actually did not look nearly that dark. I don't actually see the shade, so let me look on my order history. All right, the shade that I got is 310, and I don't actually see that anywhere on here. This one retails on Ulta's site for $14.99. It says, get the ultimate medium to full coverage, soft matte look with Maybelline's 24-hour hybrid powder foundation. It says it lasts up to 24 hours. It resists sweat, it resists water, and transferring. It claims to be non-comedogenic and suitable for all skin types. All right, so once we got beyond the concealer snafu, this actually went on really nicely. I used my trusty Sonia Kashuk powder brush. This is like my go-to powder foundation brush, and it really did give a beautiful soft matte finish. It made my skin look really airbrushed. I found that the coverage when you first apply it, at least with that large of a brush, even though it's dense, it is a large brush, the coverage was maybe light coverage. Like I could see everything through my powder foundation. So in order to get to that medium to full coverage, you're gonna need to build and build, which is fine, but just kind of an FYI. I'm gonna have to see how this wears throughout the day to give any final thoughts on it, but overall I am very impressed by this. Given the fact that I have some dry areas, this did not make it look any worse than it already did with the primer. So first impression, A+. Again, we have to see how well it wears throughout the day. All right, next up we have the Luminous Putty Bronzer. So they've got their Putty Bronzer, Putty Blush, then they launched their Luminous Putty Blush, and now they have their Luminous Putty Bronzer. I guess it was just the natural next step. I got mine in, what is with the shades being so hard to find on these? Oh, here we go. It says Bronzant Pate Luminex. I feel like that's not the same as the name that I ordered. So the color that I ordered is Day Trip, made for light to medium skin tones. So this retails for $7. And it says the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Bronzer gives your complexion a glowing finish with a hint of shimmer. The formula is lightweight, non-greasy, and highly pigmented to smooth your complexion. Plus, it's infused with skin-loving argan oil and vitamin E. So again, should have applied this before the powder foundation, but I forgot, so I really put it to the test and put it over top of my powder foundation, which I can get away with the other putty products, so I assumed it would be the same, and it was, so that just speaks to the quality of the cream, that it's even smooth on top of powder, which is very hard to do. So in terms of the formula, in terms of the ingredients, the price point, I have nothing negative to say. I highly recommend it. If you are a luminous bronzer type of person, if you love like the hourglass bronzer, if you just like a lot of glowiness, you may really like this. For me, it was too luminous. I prefer a more matte bronzer and then a luminous blush, because when it's a luminous bronzer, I feel like I need to put it where I put my blush because I don't like shimmer outside of kind of the top of my cheekbones. I don't want shimmer down here because I just find it's not flattering on me. So while I think the formula is great, I personally don't have a use case for this formula unless I wanted to use it as a blush, which I'm not saying I wouldn't do on like a bronzy look. That's the only way I feel like I would use this, which kind of has me covered by the Luminous Putty blushes. I would go with the original Putty bronzer over this one. All right, next up is the NYX Brow Glue. This is in medium brown. This was sent to me. This is the pigmented version of their Viral brow glue. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I personally was not a fan of the brow glue, but the NYX Thick It Stick It is like my holy grail brow product. Absolutely love it. This one, I think I need to play around with this more before I make a final judgment call. When I did this eyebrow, I was like, no, absolutely not. It went on really clumpy. It felt very wet. I had to go in with another like disposable spoolie to comb it out. I felt like there was little white areas that you could see. It was a no. But then when I had less product and I did this side, it looked a lot better. It looked a lot more natural. So I'm on the fence about this one. I don't love it like I immediately loved the NYX Thick It Stick It, but I also like it more than the original brow glue. The pigment on this is nowhere near as strong as the Thick It Stick It. That one has a lot more pigment. It builds a lot more volume. This one doesn't add volume so much as it just keeps your brows in place with a little bit of added pigment. I do really like the size of this spoolie when I compare it to the Thick It Stick It. This is a lot more small. This is like a e.l.f. Wow Brow type size, and I do like that. But it's a lot like goopier of a formula. I think it's gonna take some getting used to. First impression, I like it. I don't love it as much as Thick It Stick It. Okay, next up is a eyeshadow palette I had just been wanting to try, and it's the Pacifica Magical Eyeshadow. I get a lot of requests for brands like Pacifica, so I wanted to include this because I've never tried it, and I was overall quite impressed by the quality of the shadows. I also get a lot of requests for talc-free eyeshadow, and these are talc-free. It comes with 28 different eyeshadows and it retails for $24, so I feel like that's pretty reasonable. You've got 3 different finishes: shimmer, matte, and glitter. I did find that the glitter transferred up under my eye. I don't know if you noticed, like up under here. When I was applying it, it kind of fell down. Don't love that. But the colors are beautiful. The formula is good. I definitely see a lot of looks that you can create with an eyeshadow palette like this. There's a lot of potential. So I'll definitely add it to my rotation, and it will be featured in a favorites video if I end up reaching for it a lot. First impression was pretty good. All right, next up for eyeliner. NYX relaunched their Vivid Matte liner, both in black and white as well as different kind of pastel colors. I played around using this pink one because I've got like pink in my shirt and I thought maybe I could tie it in. I actually swatched it right here, if you can see it with all the other ones, but it was a little too hot pink for me. So I nixed it and decided, did you see what I did there? I nixed it. I decided not to use that one and I went with the black. And when I was first applying it, I was like, I remember loving this and I can see why. It has a traditional paintbrush, but it's a super fine paintbrush, super thin formula, very easy to get that really fine line. So as I was applying it, I'm like, okay, loving this, can't wait to talk about it. It's as good as I remember. However, after several minutes, I went in with my eyelash curler before I went in with mascara and curled my lashes. And as I was applying my mascara, I'm like, what happened to my eyeliner? The eyelash curler took it off all around my lid on both sides. I had to redo the eyeliner. That's kind of a deal breaker for me. I'm gonna see how well it lasts throughout the day, but I feel like you should be able to curl your lashes even if you have eyeliner on and not completely screw it up. So I cannot say I recommend this, unfortunately. And then I went in with, I'm realizing how many products in this video I didn't love. But then another one that's not new, but it's new to me, is the Ulta Beauty automatic eyeliner. I wanted to try this because I'm rounding up all of the best eyeliners. I'll do a video on that. But I wanted to include this in that search. It did go on pretty easily, but again, I swatched it and this is a very gray black. That is not like a black black. Let me show you it next to this NYX eyeliner, just so you can kind of see it right next to a very black black. Okay, so that is black. That is the Ulta eyeliner. It's not very black. So for me, eyeliner, a black eyeliner needs to be a black eyeliner. So this one, already off the table for best eyeliners at the drugstore. And then last but not least is a new release I've been really excited about, and it's the e.l.f. Lash N Roll. They launched this as well as a new glowy sunscreen, which I also have. But my eye was kind of acting up, like very irritated, so I didn't want to risk a new chemical sunscreen irritating it even more. So I skipped it for this video, but I will be trying it. But it's the e.l.f. Lash N Roll. The packaging is very reminiscent of the Benefit roller lash. So it looks like e.l.f. is continuing on its path of duping high-end product, but I was pleasantly surprised by this. It gives very fluttery lashes. It doesn't give very clumpy lashes. The wand is pretty hard. That's the only thing I'll say, that the wand feels kind of pokey, but the actual formula is good. If you like the CoverGirl Clump Crusher, like very buildable, natural looking formulas. That being said, wear test is everything when it comes to mascara. It doesn't matter what I say here. If it's all over my eyelid in an hour, doesn't matter how great it looks when I first apply it. So I will keep you posted on that. Whew, I feel like we just shot through that. So let me know if you have questions in the comments down below. Let me know outside of that e.l.f. sunscreen if there's another new product that you want me to give my thoughts on. And if there's any videos that you're looking for this year, I am all ears. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.